Hello and welcome to Psychological Insights. Last month, we spoke about sleep, the benefits of sleep, why sleep is really necessary. Today's topic is dreams. People are interested in dreams. They want to know what their dreams mean. What does their dreams say about them? Poems have been written about dreams. Songs have been written about dreams. Today, we'll be speaking to Dr. Robert Ham. He's a psychologist in West Hartford Center, and the topic is dreams. I'm Pat Kazakov. Stay with me. So this topic, dreams, it's an interesting topic. The first time I recall being interested in it academically was the book that Freud wrote, The Interpretation of Dreams, in 1899. But are there civilizations before that were interested in dreams?
Oh yeah, I think that mankind has been interested in what do dreams mean ever since time began. And people have been dreaming since the human race started, and it goes beyond humans. Of course, other animal species we would assume are dreaming. We know that pretty much, even though they can't tell us. But in different cultures, the Sonoy of Malaysia had, a method for working with dreams that's been adopted um, in an active dream um, interpretation process. The Zunis of Western United States believe that the spirits would come and visit us when we're dreaming. The Mesopotamians would make predictions. They felt they were precognitive. Um, so there are many different. The Australian Aborigines believed that they called it the dreamings, that there was a civilization of spirits that existed on this planet before the human race.
So what is since everyone's been thinking about it for a long time and talking about it and all these civilizations, what is the science of dreams? Like I've heard of, REM, rapid eye movement. That's a stage of sleep. But what are the stages of sleep, and when do the dreams occur?
um, well, they did a lot of research in the mid 20th century, and the original researchers, Aserinsky and Kleitman, back in the mid 50s, and William Dement, had laboratories. They put subjects in, hooked them up to different kinds of electronic devices like electroencephalograph, etc., measures your brain waves. And they discovered that dreaming occurs during a certain frequency. It's called beta waves. Um, so we go into different stages of sleep throughout the night, and we cycle through 5 times on average. And there are 4 stages. The dream, when we're dreaming, they find our eyes are moving. It's called rapid eye movement. So the brain waves are called beta. That's a certain pattern on the EEG machine that is a higher. It's close. In fact, you cannot distinguish um, a waking state from dream state. It's the same brain waves. So our brains are very active during, and that is our experience when we're dreaming. It's as though we're awake, isn't it? Like we're living through something, even though it's very absurd.
But do you usually, when you're dreaming, you realize when you wake up it's a dream? Like it's not as if you wake up and say somebody's chasing me. You know that it's a nightmare or a dream. So my question is, what about people who don't dream? Is there such a thing, or do they just wake up and not remember?
Um, yeah, well, that's a good point. We're aware when we're awake that what we were dreaming was a dream. When we're dreaming, not the case, because we believe that we really are dreaming. I mean, really are living what we're dreaming. Although there is something called lucid dreaming, which is a different state. While we're dreaming, we're aware that we're dreaming. Um, so there is an awareness while we're awake, but not the same when we're asleep.
So what about those people who they say they don't dream? Like,
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I forgot your question. Yeah, that's it. They're mistaken. Um, Everybody dreams. So most of us don't remember most of our dreams, but yeah, everyone dreams, and we know this now because we have this research which shows that we go through different cycles throughout the night, and dreaming usually occurs mostly towards the end of our sleep. Um, so in the early hours of our sleep, we go through the different stages. We go down to from stage 1 down to 4, and then we come back up to 1 gradually through 2 and 3, etc. But not much dreaming, very short periods of dreaming. But towards the end, 7, 8 hours, REM, the REM periods extend, and that's where most of our dreaming occurs. Generally.
So what I'm hearing from you is that people really have multiple dreams because you cycle through all the phases 4, 5 times a night. So I'm asking the same question, but what about the people who wake up and say they don't remember their dreams? Why is that?
Well, um, we don't remember most of our dreams. We're more likely to remember the dreams that we had just before we woke up. So we wake up out of a REM cycle. We're going to remember that, but those dreams fade. Memories from our dreams, physiologically, uh, the way the brain is built, so to speak, does not consolidate memories of these experiences while we're dreaming. So if you notice, if you wake up and you remember a dream later in the day, you're very likely to even forget what it was. So for those people who are working on their dreams, for example, they say that as soon as you wake up, so when I work with a patient, we're working on dream analysis. I'll ask them to keep a notepad next to their bed so that when they wake up, if they remember a dream, they're instructed to write it down as soon as possible because those memories fade very quickly, um, unlike in our waking state, with the exception of a moment ago when I forgot your question.
Well, well, you talked about lucid dreaming. That's an example of lucid dreaming.
That's an
You,
example of
well, you were there, and but you just forgot.
yeah,
Just for,
we can remember our waking state. Come on. Let my key so no, we don't remember our dreams very well. But getting back to what I was saying, a way to remember them is to write down what you're dreaming immediately. Also, it's interesting, but movements actually have a way of disintegrating your dreams. So uh, if you want to remember your dreams, as soon as you wake up, try not to move around if you can while you're writing down your dreams. So there are ways to consolidate your memories of your dreams by recording them as soon as possible. But no, we don't. That's why a lot of people don't remember their dreams, but you can. So there is a psychologist, her name is Gail Delaney, who wrote a book called Living Your Dreams. I taught a course on dreams years ago and assigned that book for students to read who want to work on their dreams. And so she recommended that we keep a journal of our dreams, write things down. so that we can remember them.
But why would you want to remember your dreams? Like what are the dreams indicating? Or if you say that most people forget their dreams, or if they remember, they only remember the one in the last cycle during the REM period. So
Mhm.
why is it important to remember your dreams? What are the dreams telling you about you?
Not everybody likes to follow their dreams. A lot of people believe that dreams don't mean anything, they're just random thoughts. And I think for those people, they're less likely to remember their dreams because they don't make anything of it, or they may feel somewhat, um, I don't want to say threatened, but they're not comfortable with things that are psychological in nature. So they don't like to make anything of those things. Um, but uh, there is a lot of value. A lot of people do believe, I believe, of course, as a psychologist, that dreams do have a purpose beyond the physiological purpose. So let's take a look at the physiological purpose. So researchers Hobson, J. Allen Hobson, Robert McCarley came up with a hypothesis called the activation synthesis hypothesis, which still is prevalent today. So it's believed that dreaming serves a function for us to sort of sort out things, get our brains kind of like a filing system, recatalog things, get things sorted out and shuffled around to help us to think more clearly in the next day.
I mean, that sounds to me like a theory, but it also sounds to me that there's many other theories on why dreams are important.
Well, yeah. Well, I wanted to say, I was going to say that, so that's a physiological explanation. And I think there's a validity to that. But beyond that, a lot of people, such as the ancients and Freud, et cetera, believe that dreams have meaning, an existential meaning. Um, I think they do. They reveal ideas, thoughts, memories that we have part of our minds that we don't ordinarily think about. But the problem with dreams interpretation is they speak in riddles in a sense. It's not our normal kind of logic.
No,
So
I find it, sorry, I'm finding this quite interesting because I'm taking it personally in that I have two dreams that I remember from years and years and years ago, and
okay,
they were disturbing. They were disturbing to me, and
yeah,
so I remember them. But I mean, I've had many more dreams in my life, but those two I remember, and I'm wondering why I remember them. And what I'm hearing from you is that it just sort of puts you in a certain framework that that you understand very specifically that this is bothering you.
yeah. I mean, uh, dreams have the significance to different levels, I think. So there's a psychologist, the British psychologist Anne Faraday, wrote a book many years ago called Dream Power, which he suggested we can interpret dreams from different levels in a stepwise fashion. So the first stage, if you will, is that when you have a dream, excuse me, such as, for example, your teeth are falling out. That's a common dream. So you're smiling. Maybe you've had that.
I'm smiling because it's not common to me, and I've never heard of anybody telling me that
Uh,
their teeth are falling out in a dream. So, but
yeah,
if you say it's common, you have the experience of a lot of people. So I guess teeth falling out is a theme.
yeah, it is. Not everybody has it. As you said, you don't. But yeah, there's a common theme. So Anne Faraday, which he said that the first thing you do is call your dentist. So you take a literal interpretation. Maybe you're not paying attention to something. Your subconscious is telling you that your teeth are rotting, or that you have a cavity. Go to the dentist and you get a clean bill of health. Then she says, well, maybe it has a metaphorical meet. So you think about, okay, well, maybe the dream means that it symbolically means that. So a way of interpreting that is I'm losing power, I'm losing vitality, using my youthfulness. But beyond that, she says that if you have a dream, such as you're mentioning, something that's very powerful, it stays with you emotionally, or for repeated dreams. So one of the common repeated dreams is tornadoes hitting. I hear this from some of my patients. Um, it has an existential meaning. So Faraday says, look at it in terms of something that's deeper, has to do with issues in your life that are existential in nature. Um, so the psychoanalyst Carl Jung believed that our dreams have different levels of meaning, and sometimes they get us in touch with what he called our collective unconscious. And these are existential themes that are common to all of humanity that bind us together, um, such as
So, what I'm hearing from you, and where I hear you going is, um, there's a lot of challenges in what dreams mean and what the purpose of dreams and what the purpose of dreams are. But there are some common themes in dreams, and you mentioned the teeth falling out. So, and now you mentioned tornadoes. Are there common themes of dreams?
yes, yeah, there are. And, a lot of people dream that they're falling, um, which could mean that there's a fear of something awful happening. And most dreams have to do with anxiety, as you mentioned, dreams that you've had, or being chased by somebody.
I had the chase dream. I'm very big on the chase. Very big on being chased. So what is that about?
I see it as an avoidance or a procrastination, that you're avoiding something, fearful of somebody or something that you are avoiding, running away from.
Can we not use the word you? You are avoiding you. Can we just say people are avoiding?
Yeah, well, I assumed it just assumed that it's with a capital Y.
Okay. Okay. So we've got the theme of being chased. And what about the falling theme? You just briefly talked about that. What's the falling theme about?
I think that there's a fear and existential anxiety in that dream, isn't it? That something could be losing control, but more that's putting your life in peril. Um, Tornado dreams are existential threats. They often reoccur for some people, and it's often it's an existential threat. It's a threat to our survival. A very deep and very fundamental dream about existence. Some people dream about fires. Uh,
What's that about?
to me, that is passion. Fire is hot, passionate, but it's consuming, so it's a destructive. So it often has also another existential. There's a threat. There's a destructiveness with passion. Um, so these are some of the common.
What
Um,
what about you didn't mention, but what about sexual dreams? People who have sexual dreams, that must be common also.
yeah, they are. The proverbial wet dreams, sexual dreams. Not all dreams are unpleasant, of course. Some are very pleasant. A common theme that many people have that's pleasant is flying. Sort of like astral traveling. It's an exhilarating feeling, like you're a bird flying around, a feeling of power and freedom. So it's a very pleasant dream, which reflects your relationship with life in some ways. That's very positive when you're feeling exhilarated and powerful, free.
Mhm. I haven't had that one. I'm more with the chasing. I'm big on the chasing, not so big on the flying. But the one thing that was interesting to me is you mentioned the tornadoes. How is it possible to have a dream of a tornado living in the Northeast where we don't have tornadoes?
Well, climate change, things are changing, and tornadoes are more prevalent. Um, but no, I'm being facetious. Tor tor Tornadoes are universal. We've seen them, in the Wizard of Oz. It's a fearful thing, um, that we all are aware of. The forces of nature that are destructive it has an existential theme to it, and it's something that is sort of at the foundation of our existence. We're very much aware of our relationship to nature and that life is perilous and uh, fragile. So when we have dreams of cataclysms like that, it reminds us about the fragility of our existence. And so if there's something that we're fearful of in our lives, uh, that is sort of stirring that up, that our lives are in danger for one reason or another. Um, we don't take it literally that a tornado is coming. You don't have to believe that here in the Northeast that there are tornadoes in order to have a dream about something that has existential meaning, about a threat to our existence.
Is there such a thing as people having the same dream every night? The same, like I'm going to use the chasing dream because I'm familiar with it, but that you feel you're being chased practically every night. Would would that be a problem? Would that indicate something more than just a fleeting passage?
Yeah, well, as I was mentioning, the psychologist Dan Faraday said if there are themes that recur, um, then it suggests that there is something there that is troubling us, of course. And often, people with post-traumatic stress disorder, as many of us know, one of the cardinal symptoms of that disorder is repeated nightmares. Um, so anxiety is, coming through. When we're sleeping, our emotions are connecting with our memories and our associations. Um, but with the activation synthesis hypothesis, it's not reined in by reality, by our sensory, because our eyes are closed. We're not responding to the world around us. All we have to direct those stories is our associations. So those stories come out in absurd ways. Um, so if we have trauma in our lives, when we're dreaming, well, all of those memories are getting activated, connected to our limbic system, our emotions, and so it formulates a story that is directed by those fears. And so if you have trauma, you're going to keep going back to those scenes that are created by those fears. And so if there is trauma in your life, specific memories will recur, or it will come through as some kind of symbolic scene, such as being chased by something that represents something that you're fearful of, that you're avoiding in life.
Would you say that a person who has recurrent dreams, let's go back to the chasing, they have those recurring dreams, but their daily life, they're very functional. It doesn't seem to affect them during the day. They're very functional. They do what they have to do. Would you say that those people would benefit by going to a psychologist and talking about it?
Absolutely.
Or would you say just ignore it?
No, I would not say ignore it. As I was saying, I believe that dreams have meaning, symbolic meaning. They are useful. They're more than just physiological functions. So if there are dreams that are recurring for you, capital YU, okay, um, that it means that there is something that's troubling you, that's getting stirred up in your psyche, um, that it does, um, I think, say something about what you need to pay attention to that would be helpful. Can you live your life without paying attention to dreams? Of course you can. But I think that dreams do reveal that there's certain things in our lives that we want to pay attention to that we might not otherwise, because we're not thinking about it. When we're up and around in the world and awake, it's much easier to filter things out to expurgate all this stuff that we don't want to think about. And we live lives that are easily distracted by them. When you're dreaming, not the case. There's no distractions. You have only your subconscious to answer to.
Well, this is, once again, this has been very, very interesting. And what I'm hearing from you is that to take your dreams seriously, not just to ignore them, because it could be stirring something up in you that's really important. And even though it's subconscious and it doesn't affect you, you should take a look at this. You should, it's part of feeling good. It's part of self-care. That's what I hear from you.
Yeah, I think dreams are can be very illuminating, and they can be fun to work with. I mean, it's a creative process. The dream is creative, and the interpretation of the dreams are. I found when I was in grad school, I participated in a dream interpretation group. So there's a psychoanalyst, his name is Montague Ullman, who developed a method for interpreting dreams in a group setting, and it's very elevating to see other people interpreting your dreams. It's very supportive. Some people are threatened by dream interpretation. It's revealing things that they don't want to look at or they feel judged. So it can be very supportive to be in a group setting um, if in a dream interpretation group. It makes it can be easier to accept feeling the support. Often we are our worst critics.
Well, so what I think I'm going to do based on this discussion, Dr. Ham, is maybe I should deal with the little chasing problem that I'm having. I think. What do you think?
Okay, go for it. Yeah, I think.
Well, thank you very much. As always, this has been extremely interesting. And once again, thank you for the capital U, capital Y, as opposed to U. That was helpful also. And I'll look forward to seeing you next month. Do we have a topic yet?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back. I think I'm thinking of doing a show on getting back to the pandemic and our.
Okay.
I mean, we did one a year ago when all this started, and now we're coming out the other end. And what we'd like to talk about how people are coping with all of that.
Good. So
Yeah.
thank you very much again. And we'll look forward to seeing you next month. I'm
Same.
Pat Kazakoff. Thanks for watching.